Welcome, everyone. If you're joining us on YouTube, welcome to the race coverage of the Crown Athletics IndyCar Series Lone Star 150. If you're still with us from Patreon watching Countdown to Green, welcome to the main show here from Fort Worth. It's time to get down to business, though. It's going to be a very, very jam-packed racetrack, and that all begins at the top. There's a 3-point difference at the top of the board between Mirabella Viscali and Rick Ravon. Ravon winning at the Indianapolis 500 and the Milwaukee Mile. Viscali, 2 podiums on the go this season. Bobby Blowers, defending kart champion, sits third in points ahead of Lance Anthony, Marlo Duncan, Louis Frazier, Nicholas Pressey, Nate Fields, Daniel Pereira, the Brazilian, and DJ Trouts round out your top 10 at the moment. Heading into the Lone Star State, William Rucker and Sheridan Wade, top 12. And then looking further down the order, Josh Gaiman in 13th, Tucker Sawyer in 14th after frustrations at Mid-Ohio. Also not here at Texas either. Brian Edwards in 15th place, John Matthews 16th, Kenneth Smith, Blue Jade, Martin Roberg, David Cook Jr., Matthias Marcomini, Travis Rucker, Scott Watson, and Andrew Clark. Round out your top 24 here in Texas. Qualifying is underway, so let's go ahead and let's focus on some of the qualifiers going on the racetrack right now. Josh Gaiman on the racetrack. He's finishing his first lap. 24.2 for Josh Gaiman. 10th fastest. Times are going to be pretty rapid here as far as how they update. Gaiman trying to carry as much speed as possible out of the corners here. See if it's going to help him any. Crossed our finish line, 23.9. Provisionally, that is front row. What does Ravon got to say about it? 24-0 first lap. Is he going to try to go for pole position here? Blowers on pole provisionally. Gaiman front row ahead of Smith, ahead of Rucker, ahead of Edwards. Out of 4, Ravon down to the 10th position. Now it's provisional pole, 23.927, the mark to beat. 18 of set lap times so far. The rookie, Matthew Rivera, the Puerto Rican, on the racetrack now. Ravon at the top of the board with a 23.927. It's Ravon and Blowers top of the board. They'll be front row if it stands. See if anyone's posting a faster time at the moment. Rivera, lap 1 in the books, 24.070. Not a bad first lap, 14th fastest. Will it be enough? Very tidy, very clean. We'll see how that shifts. '29 cars here on the racetrack, it looks like. Rivera's time goes front row. The Puerto Rican almost. Blue Jade goes pole. The rookie showing up and showing out. Blue Jade, 2 days removed from her first podium in the HTL Challenger Series, takes provisional pole, finding a little bit of extra speed to outrun Rick Ravon for the top spot. Qualifying still underway. Pereira goes second fastest. Osborne will need a lot of speed to try to improve, but we said that about Pereira as well. He was 23rd until that pole lap. What has Osborne got? Can he go to the front of the field? Ellis, Fay, Grove, Pressey, Frazier, and Frazier have yet to set times here. 29 on the board. Osborne. That's not a pole time. That will just be enough for 20th. 24.119 for Josh Osborne. Goodness gracious. Blue Jade, provisional pole position. Absolutely ecstatic stuff. And that was a little bit of a lull in the action on the racetrack, so we will cram in as much as we can before more action hits the racetrack here. We'll start by shouting out some of our premier tier Patreon subs that have been watching from the start of Countdown to Green on Patreon. Trade Ups Logan, thank you for the year of support. Dogman2935, Eli Sassick, Jason Scott, Alfred Denny, Weekend Hobby 22, Philip Snipes, Tyler Head. Thank you all for 3 months of support so far to kick off the year of 2026. B-Dogs, Colin McDonough, thank you for 2 months. Blue Jade, your anniversary is coming up here on Saturday. So thank you for almost 2 months of support. KJ Gibney, James Wright, J. Paw, thank you for joining the community this month. We have an entire plus tier as well that begins at $5, and everyone is shouted out throughout the broadcast at the bottom of your screen. Greatly appreciative of everybody as part of it. If you're watching this on YouTube and you're not already in, hit the QR code or the description down below to get started. A lot of exclusive content, things like Countdown to Green, ABN Victory Lane, podcasts, write-up articles, extra content all over the place, especially enjoying this wonderful time, the month of May. There's no better time for motorsports across the board. NASCAR, IndyCar, Formula One, endurance racing, the 24 Hours of the Nürburgring, also this month. We'll see how things stand here. Nick Pressey currently on the racetrack on his second lap time. Let's see what this looks like for the defending ABN World Champion who has had a rough start here in kart. Cross start finish line for Pressey, and it's going to be a fast lap time. Is it enough for pole? It is not. 23.921. He will not find a second pole position. He will, however, find the front row provisionally as time gets closer and closer to elapsing less than 3 minutes to go. And it's 2 series rookies at the front of the field. Blue Jade on provisional pole for the first time. Nick Pressey looking for his second career pole will be denied. We'll have to settle for a front row start out of 29 drivers set to take part in this event. So 24 of set lap times at the moment. Casey Ellis, Andrew Fay, R.C. Grove, Lily Frazier, Andrew Frazier has yet to set a lap time here in qualifying with how hectic this race is expected to be. For those that missed the ABN Champ Car World Series events, the doubleheader here at Texas a little over a month ago, it is a chaotic event. The hybrid is a pretty big game changer here at Texas Motor Speedway, as it is at a lot of different racetracks. So there should not be too much of a surprise in how this might play out. Blue Jade saying in the Patreon chat, I'm scared. What? Front of the field is a very interesting place to be. That is to be for sure. But very quick lap time there for Blue Jade. As we wait to see, it looks like Andrew White trying to potentially make the field, which would give us 30 cars if he can get in the next 75 seconds. A lot of fun stuff here. Huge shout out to all of the supporters for the Kart IndyCar series. As we get ready to go racing here. Less than 30 seconds left to go here in qualifying. It looks like no one is rolling onto the racetrack, so it looks like Blue Jade will have pole position here for the first time in her kart IndyCar career. 03 will be at the front of the field alongside the defending ABN World Champion, the Brazilian Daniel Pereira sitting in third. Rick Ravon, 2-time race winner with a lot of pressure on the championship leader. He starts fourth, trying to take over that top spot. Rivera, Blowers, Gaiman, Smith, Travis Rucker, Brian Edwards, your top 10 here in Texas. And so 29 cars get ready to go here in the Lone Star State. So let's go ahead and let's look into the starting grid for the Lone Star 150. Front of the field is going to be Blue Jade and Nick Pressey. Kart rookies. ABN fans will be pretty familiar with them at this point. Blue Jade, first career pole in kart. Nick Pressey, defending world champion, denied a second career pole in the competition in 4 races. He's hoping for a good result, at least here, to try to get his campaign on the right track here before the month of May concludes. Daniel Pereira and Rick Ravon sit in row 2. Ravon looking to take over the top spot in the championship after 2 wins in a row. Can he find 3 in succession? We'll find out here in Texas Motor Speedway. Row 3 is where you'll find Matthew Rivera, the Puerto Rican, alongside the defending kart champion Bobby Blowers. Row 4, Josh Gaiman and Kenneth Smith will make up 7th and 8th on the grid. Travis Rucker and Brian Edwards. They're your top 10. That's how the top 5 rows tap out. Row 6 is where you'll find Nate Fields and Marlo Duncan. Front row starter at Indianapolis, Nate Fields. Marlo Duncan looked outstanding at the Milwaukee Mile a week ago. We'll see how they stand here tonight. Mirabella Viscali, Lance Anthony will be in row 7. You saw Rick Ravon. He got rolling earlier. He is moving to the back of the field. I'm not sure if this is voluntary, if there is a penalty for something from last week, but he will go to the back of the field and start 29th tonight. Ravon will have a lot of work to do for him, but he's also expecting chaos, so we'll see if that pans out. Andrew Clark, John Matthews will start row 8. Outside lane will move up a row now that Ravon has moved to the back of the field. Row 9 qualified is David Cook Jr. and Brandon Statton. Row 10 qualified DJ Trout and William Rucker qualified 20th for this event. Josh Osborne, Colin Flukiger in row 11. Row 12, Keel Aldridge and David Cook Sr. Row 13, Andrew Fay and Lily Frazier. Row 14, Casey Ellis and Andrew Frazier. And then on his own, some RC Grove at the back of the field as we get ready to go racing here in Texas. "29 cars set to go racing here at the Lone Star State. The green flag flies and away we go. We're racing in No Limits, Texas. Opening lap completed with little issue. It looks like your car in the fence, though. Oh, huge trouble, and we spoke too soon. Huge crash. Huge crash. Numerous cars involved. That was what people were worried about early in this event. Less than 3 miles in, and cars and debris are everywhere. That's damage on Brandon Statton's machine. Center of your screen, part of the front wing is gone. Several cars in pit lane. That is Flukiger. Osborne in trouble. The 16 car, David Cook Sr. looks like his day is done. The Brazilian Daniel Pereira, who started near the front of the field, involved as well. Enormous impacts in this race early. So let's take a look at what happened here. We'll start with Pereira, center of your screen. Comes up the racetrack, and he just comes up the racetrack into, I believe that's David Cook Sr. is who he gets into there, and that's really the chain reaction that begins everything is with Pereira coming up into David Cook Sr. And David Cook Sr. is the one that is upside down. No, never mind. There he is. So someone else was upside down. Was that Rucker? It was Rucker. So it was Rucker. It was William Rucker and Daniel Pereira involved early. Bunch of drivers involved here. Again, we'll look at Pereira and Rucker. Sorry, that wasn't even Rucker. It was Marlo Duncan. I just noticed that that's the Target Chip Ganassi throwback. So Marlo Duncan goes for a wild ride upside down. And just slides upside down. I'm assuming ends up right side up again. There you go. So that's how Duncan ends up right side up. Meanwhile, William Rucker, not so fortunate. What happened to him? Center of your screen, William Rucker. Oh, he gets completely run over. I believe that's Flukiger that ran over him. It was. That was Colin Flukiger. And so an absolute mess on the back straightaway. On board with Rucker. He sees a lot of smoke, tries checking up. Doesn't even have a chance to check up. So unfortunate there. And so the field cycles around. Bobby Blowers ends up in second behind Nick Cressy. Kenneth Smith in third, Blue Jade in fourth, Brian Edwards in fifth, Josh Gaiman in sixth, ahead of Matthew Rivera, Lance Anthony, Nate Fields, and Andrew Clark in 10th. David Cook Jr. 11th, DJ Trout in 12th, Casey Ellis, Andrew Frazier, Rick Ravon, Travis Rucker, John Matthews, Marlo Duncan, Brandon Statton, Mirabella Viscali, your top 20. Andrew Fay, R.C. Grove did not take the start. David Cook Sr., the first retirement, and so far only retirement from this event. As we get ready to go back racing here. Early caution, early days here in Texas Motor Speedway. As we get ready to go back underway, it is Pressy that leads. And Blowers will make pretty quick work of this. Remember, no push to pass, just hybrid at your disposal. You get about 10 seconds of hybrid per lap if you can regenerate it. Harder to do than you would imagine. Regenerating hybrid at an oval where you're mostly flat out, especially at the front of the field. Blowers at the front, Smith in second, Pressy now in third. Andrew Clark dropping back a pretty decent amount here. The poles that are pretty well all swallowed up. Jade down to fifth. Just trying to find bearings here. Flukiger tried to return to the racetrack. Ended up being a very short-lived effort. Back down pit lane is Flukiger now, and it might be day done for the 91 camp. Right on board here with Ravon. Started this race in 4th, dropped down to 27th, took a voluntary EOL because he didn't feel comfortable being around the mid-pack early. Turned out being the right call because where he started was where the crash happened on lap 2. And now he's working his way up through the field now that it's thinned out a little bit and everyone's calmed their nerves just enough to give a semblance of strategy in this event. Sitting right now in the 12th position. There are your haves and have-nots, though. Bit of a gap down to John Matthews there in 15th place. Casey Ellis in 16th. Marlo Duncan in 17th. Billy Frazier in 18th place. Front of the field, it is a battle between Blowers and Kenneth Smith. David Cook Jr. did set the fast lap of the race, a 23.8. And car spun. This is going to be problematic. Oh, huge crash. And that is Andrew Clark going end over end, side over side. And that is likely day done for Andrew Clark. I would be extremely surprised that that car is still rolling. It is not. So let's take a look at what happened here. Andrew Clark riding on board. Going to be a very violent crash. Hold on tight. Just try to shoot the gap the best you can, but unfortunately, Andrew Clark just a little late. I think as the saying goes, a day late, $1 short for Andrew Clark. He tried to get that car rolling again, realized that the rear of the car just was not connected. On board with Brian Edwards. The Hoosier thought he had it cleared, thought he chose the right lane. He did, but he was a day early. And that car, all sorts of torn up. And all three of the cars involved in this, Osborne, Edwards, and Clark, have had the tow back to pit lane, could not make it under their own power. Let's on board with Osborne here. He was trying to exit pit lane and lost it on his own. He was one of those involved in the early lap 2 caution. He come down pit lane for more repairs, and that car is still not repaired well. And so now it's 2 more cars involved and afflicted with problems as well. So we get ready to go back racing here. Free pass, I believe, is going to William Rucker. William Rucker will get the free pass here. Had to use the free pass on lap 2 after going into a flip on the back straightaway. Multiple cars involved on lap 2, 3 cars involved on lap 12. It is now Blowers at the front of the field for a restart here. Ahead of Smith, ahead of Pressey, ahead of Gaiman, and David Cook Jr. Latency there for Blowers is a concern with how close the racing has been here at Texas traditionally and how it looks to be close here as well today. trouble early and frequent to kick things off here in the Lone Star State. 2 official retirements make it 3. Andrew Clark, Colin Flukiger, and David Cook Sr. out early. Josh Osborne back on pit lane. His day effectively over. Brian Edwards, Daniel Pereira, and William Rucker a lap down. 20 cars on the lead lap as we get ready for our second restart of the night here from Texas Motor Speedway. It is Blowers, Smith, Pressey, Gaiman, Cook, top 5, green flag, and we're back underway here in the Lone Star State. Front of the field got a really good jump on that restart, and it spread the field out just a little bit at the sharp end. Smith battling. Pressey goes high on the outside lane. Riding on board with the 94. Watching as the top 2 battle it out. Saw Gaiman sweep in there for 3rd. Pressing, trying not to take it too awful hard. Again, he's looking for a good result. He's had a very rough start of the season. He's trying to make things better for himself here. But you can see it's not going to be an easy conversation to have. David Cook Jr. is also on the charge. 71 car. Trying to move to the front. There's Blue Jade getting around Matthew Rivera, the pole sitter. For a moment, 3 wide. Pressey, again, just trying to take it easy. He's down to 5th. And Rivera holds on to 6th. Jade down to 7th. Keep an eye on that dark blue and white machine. Rick Ravon. Down in 9th place at the moment. Nate Fields in 8th now. Travis Rucker getting passed by DJ Trout. Car in the fence further back. That looks... might have been a lap down car. It looks like it would have been Pereira. It was Pereira that tagged the fence a little bit out of turn 2. Already off the lead lap, and that car still struggling after getting damage repaired earlier on. It is almost 3x3 at the front of the field. Everyone finding different grooves. Blue Jay tags the fence that time around out of 2. And they narrow down into 2x2. Behind the race leaders, Blowers at the front. Gaiman battling for the race lead. Gaiman finds the race lead. Josh Gaiman to the front of the field. And this is where it's going to get a lot more tricky. Car in the fence again. 2 cars in the fence further back, and I believe that would have been Kenneth Smith, the 26. It was. That Aero McLaren of Kenneth Smith tagging the fence out of turn 2. Everyone driving at max capacity. You got to think a little bit of self-preservation here at Texas Motor Speedway. Very easy to get caught up in accidents. We've seen that twice already. David Cook Jr. sweeps to the inside lane and goes to the front of the field. Top 5 have tried to split away a little bit. Nick Pressey acting as the gatekeeper to the top 5. Everyone fans out so much at the turns 1 and 2. Asymmetrical racetrack. Turns 1 and 2 a little bit flatter than 3 and 4. The reward is finding that clean air and dialing your car in for those outer lanes if you can get it, because momentum going towards turns 3 and 4, very valuable, very lucrative. David Cook Jr. trying to hold on to the inside lane the best he can. But the battling continues on. Almost 3 wide. Nate Fields looking for a way to the front. Close. Still in the hands of David Cook Jr. A little bit latency, that is, for Blowers. Gaiman gets the front and cuts the door off of David Cook Jr. Not going to be too effective there in 3 and 4 because you are flat out. However, it would play more dividends here in turns 1 and 2. Jr. goes up near the fence. Fields in the middle. Almost contact between those two, but they stay clean and they stay green. Flowers on the inside lane was trying to get a 2-for-1 special. Couldn't quite make it happen. And this front of the field is intense. Very 2017-esque is how it is playing out so far. And Flowers nailed turns 1 and 2 that time in the fence. Just scraping it a little bit was Rivera, it looks like. It was Rivera or Smith again. It looks like it would have been Rivera. With how intense this is, the question is not when, or sorry, it's not if, it's when a caution would come out for contact. Eventually someone will slip up, and it will be massive when it happens. Flowers back to the point. The defending kart champion. Looking to put his name firmly in that championship conversation. It has been a slow start for Mirabella Viscali. I believe Viscali is still nursing a little bit of injury here. Andy Frazier has tagged defense and has crashed and has come down pit lane without causing a yellow. So we stay green. We're down to 19 cars on the lead lap. Viscali, your points leader, coming in. Struggling right now, sitting 19th along with Casey Ellis. Well off the pace right now. The 11 cars in this lead pack conversation. And it is a very intense conversation to be had at the front of the field. Flowers leads the way over Gaiman. Rick Raven up to third. And caution is out. It's for John Matthews further back. He is on the back straightaway. And now he is towed back to pit lane. The Outlaws esports driver, his day is done. He saw that call pretty well immediately. He had already used his fast repair. He's one of those involved on lap 2. And now trouble. John Matthews' day is done. He joins a growing retirement list. And we'll find out what happened to John Matthews riding on board with him. In car 98. He just snaps on him a little bit. He tags somebody. Enough to get a high above cam to see who he tagged. But heavy contact there for John Matthews. It's Duncan. It's the red and yellow, the Ganassi throwback of Marlo Duncan. Matthews just gets a little loose there and just hip checks Duncan, who also gets a significant piece of damage out of that. And just a heavy hit for John Matthews on both sides of the car. And takes off the nose cone for good measure. So John Matthews' day is done, and it does provide some reprieve for those that had lost the lead pack early. Keel Aldridge. Bold move, staying out. But that's exactly what Aldridge is doing. And Aldridge will move to the front of the field. A couple cars going to be probably looking to take advantage of a wave around situation here. Brian Edwards in the 2. I believe that is Daniel Pereira. It is the Brazilian. We'll be looking for the wave around here on this third caution of the night. I don't know why Pereira is behind Keel Aldridge. Pereira was not the free pass recipient, so Pereira should get a free pass out of this. Or should get a wave route out of this if he doesn't come down pit lane. We'll see how it pans out here. It looks like Edwards will take a free pass, though. Will still be a lap down on the race leaders, but will have a chance now to be in contention for that free pass, knowing that he would be the first car a lap down here. And it looks like Pereira does come down pit lane this time, so Pereira will not take the wave round, and Pereira will now stay 2 laps down and will now need a lot more help to get back on lead lap, or need a lot more attrition from this race. Your top 5 at the moment: Aldridge, Blowers, Gaiman, Fields, Pressey. Aldridge staying out. A little bit of a gamble with the 74 count. Desperation a little bit early for the driver that failed to make the Indianapolis 500 a few weeks ago. How will the leaders respond to that with Aldridge staying out here? Could be a very interesting question to have answered on this restart, the third of the race here in Fort Worth, coming to complete lap 36 of 125 in the Lone Star 300. Pace car is in. And there's the green flag. We're back underway. Pretty iffy restart there. But Blowers already back out in the front of the field. Aldridge on old tires will be struggling here early on. He's got maybe a lap where he's leveled everybody else on cold tires. You already see the check up there, checked up. I believe that's Ravon behind Aldridge. It was. No, Ravon, sorry, he's not even in the conversation. That would have been David Cook Jr. who got held up by Aldridge. And Keel Aldridge. Hemorrhaging time at the moment. That is Blue Jade getting on through. And Vizcaya will try to do the same. The entity data number 72 machine. Sitting around the 13th position. That car does not seem happy right now. You don't often lift that much. Something feels amiss in the 72 camp for Vizcaya. And see, there's Rick Ravon going by on the inside lane. Got around both of them. The latency for Vizcaya, not a good omen. Is that Vizcaya out? No, Vizcaya is back on the racetrack. A scary moment there, though, for Vizcaya, who did get around Aldridge in the meantime to move up to the 13th position. Right on board with Pressey here. You see how much faster they are in the corners, though. 5th gear. Vizcaya was dropping down to 4th, almost pulling 3rd gear. through turns 1 and 2. That car just very unhappy in the 72 count. Cressy in 5th, practically all the way around at the moment. There's 6th gear on the front straightaway. And he's taking it easy. He's not pushing as hard as he could. He's taking it a little bit easier, doing a little bit of conservation. So something is definitely amiss on Viscali's car. .224. Dropping down to about 200 in turns 1 and 2. It is concerning for Viscali, who is in 12th now. Got around William Rucker. Let's see how the reigning ABN World Champion is here in traffic. Also drops down a little bit. Did drop down to 4th there. Viscali passed again by Rucker. So Viscali back down to 13th. Trying to find some pace here early. Flowers, Fields, Gaiman, and Trout, your top 4. And it's hard to say in that order because it changes quite frequently right now. 47 laps completed out of 125 here in the Lone Star State. Flowers leads the way, so as we approach lap 50, let's go ahead and enjoy the sights and sounds of Texas Motor Speedway. Raw and unfiltered, let's crank it up. completing lap 59 of 125 here at Texas Motor Speedway. Watching the lead pack battle. Lead pack of about 9 drivers, almost 10. William Rucker trying to hang on to the lead pack here, battling with Mirabella Viscali for that 10th spot. Bobby Blowers leads the way. Got 17 cars on the lead lap. Kiel Aldridge coming down pit lane. Stayed out during the last caution, the third caution of the race. We've had 3. And then a pretty decent green flag run this go around. A lot of retirements, though. 27 starters in this race. Marlo Duncan, John Matthews, Andrew Frazier, Andrew Clark, Josh Osborne, Colin Flukiger, and David Cook Sr. all out here early in Fort Worth. Brian Edwards a lap down. Kiel Aldridge now 2 laps down. Daniel Pereira 3 laps down at the moment. Sorry, also 2 laps down. Almost 3 for Pereira. Look at that charge through the field. David Cook Jr. trying to get back to the front of the field. A lot of different lap leaders in this race so far. Bobby Blowers has led 46 laps in this event. By and far the most of anybody in the field. Nate Fields is yet to lead a lap. He is now up into the 2nd spot. Josh Gaiman's led 5 laps in this race. He is up to the 3rd spot. David Cook Jr. has also led laps. He has led 3 of them. Rick Ravon, despite himself hard charging, he has not yet led a lap here in Fort Worth, but he is in the conversation, which makes him very potent, very lethal here at Fort Worth. Matthew Rivera has also yet to lead a lap, but he has perennially been in this lead conversation, taking it a little bit easier. Car in the fence, that was David Cook Jr. Dropping back, DJ Trout has also yet to lead a lap. The Nebraska native sitting in the right position at the moment to try to capitalize on late mistakes. A lot of different race leaders so far here at Texas Motor Speedway. The important thing is that this green flag run continues to go. The tire row becomes more and more important. It becomes something that needs to be managed instead of could be okay with managing. And Blowers, with clean air most of the race so far, has the advantage of having the easiest tire management. Gaiman traveled well up the racetrack. Sorry, that's Nate Fields traveling well up the racetrack. Rick Ravon challenging for that 2nd spot, and will get it. Gaiman in 4th. Trout top 5. Cook, Rivera, Pressey, Frazier, and William Rucker your top 10. Everyone fanning out, looking for space, looking for time. 11 cars in this group, all in all. Viscali in 11th at the tail end. But the trend setter, the pace setter, is Bobby Blowers. Rick Ravon, we know how good he is on the ovals. Again, he's won the last 2, Indianapolis and Milwaukee. It can't be much different than those 2. And Ravon, a little bit of latency for the 7. The 1 and the 7 have had some issues with latency so far in this race. Side by side they go into turn 1. Trying to manage the hybrid. Do what you can. Play with the tools you got. Car's beginning to flirt with that fence in a pretty dangerous way as they complete lap 69 and begin lap 70 in the Lone Star State. Ravon now at the front of the field. Blowers in 2nd. Trout top 3. Brian Edwards enters the pit lane to make a pit stop here. 55 laps to go at start-finish line. Blowers and Ravon now battling for the race lead. Standard pit stop there for Brian Edwards. He's back out and away in the car 2. Not on the lead lap, but hoping for a little bit of a miracle. 17 cars on the lead lap. Matthew Rivera on the fringe of going a lap down. Rivera's actually come down pit lane now, so he will go a lap down on pit lane. Pit stops now underway, though. You would need to get to about 50 to go to make this comfortably on one more stop, and comfortable is a bit of a stretch because these tires will eat up pretty hard. The field pin on lap 34. They could easily get to about lap 80 if they wanted to. And I would imagine that's what the lead lap cars are going to try to do if they can. KCL is 16th, will be the next car to go a lap down here. You will lose about 2 laps on a pit stop here pretty safely. Rivera spent 40 seconds on pit lane in total. A little bit of latency there for Blowers. Very sketchy moment with Rick Ravon right there. Ravon had to check out of it just a little bit, and it brings DJ Trout into the mix. Gaiman in 4th, Cook in 5th. Then it's Fields, Viscali up to 6th. Sorry, Fields 6th, Viscali 7th place. Viscali working against Nick Cressy. Teammates on Mondays, rivals on Thursdays. And Viscali gets clear. Travis Rucker is down pit lane as your top 5 continue to duke it out for the race lead. Blowers continues to lead. Ravon would like to have the lead a little bit more. DJ Trout sitting in 3rd. A little bit of an insurance policy for Orlando Outlaws Esports. Trying to collect a podium here as the top 5 try to stretch their legs away. David Cook Jr. and Josh Gaiman sitting in the top 5. And then it's Nate Fields sitting back just a little bit in 6th. There's Mirabella Viscali in 7th. As Louis Frazier and Nick Cressy battle for the 8th position. Brandon Staton behind them in 10th. The 7 and the 1 continue to battle out at the front of the field with a bunch of cars following behind. Leave lap 80 to 85 are the magic numbers for the leaders to come down pit lane. Remember, under green flag conditions, you got to come down pit lane entering turn 3. So there's a lot of time to be gained or lost on pit lane under green. Travis Rucker lost some time on pit lane. A penalty for speeding. Putting a bit of a spike in his race. Ravon leads the way. David Cook Jr. trying to run for 2nd place here and will do so using the outside lane. Josh Gaiman, I believe, thought about coming down pit lane. Instead will stay out in that 5th spot. As the top 5 have thoroughly split themselves away from 6th on back. Ravon, Cook, Blowers, Trout, and Gaiman struggling a little bit. Trouble! Car on the inside lane. They're going to say that car is still rolling. Who was that in trouble? Trying to figure out who that was. That was Travis Rucker is who it was. As we mentioned, Rucker had that spinning penalty on pit lane and has now pushed himself a little bit too far beyond the edge and will crawl back to pit lane. And that'll likely be day done for Travis Rucker in car 83. Kenneth Smith down pit lane now as well, as Ravon leads the way. Down pit lane now, that is Blowers. I believe Blowers and Gaiman both coming down the pit lane. Got to get it low down, though. Oh, did Blowers get a penalty for that? He 100% did. Speeding penalty for car 1. Bobby Blowers speeding on the entry to pit lane. That is a 40-second stop and hold in addition to pit stop service. That is the equivalent of 2 laps under green. And Bobby Blowers' attempt to win here in the Lone Star State has come to a close. His undoing, speeding on pit lane. David Cook Jr. made it in safely. Josh Gaiman made it in safely. More cars coming down the pit lane. Trout stays out and leads more of the race. That was Lance Anthony coming down pit lane. And Rayvon, I think that's a penalty. I think that's a penalty for Rick Rayvon. He didn't speed, but he didn't enter pit lane correctly. And they will at least be having a giant conversation about that in the post-race here. You're supposed to come in pit lane off of turn 3. And he came in off pit lane off of turn 4, which you're only allowed to do under yellow flag conditions. And Trout's got a penalty. Speeding on pit lane. Both the Outlaws cars at the conversation at the sharp end of the pole. Speeding on pit lane. Speeding has undone Orlando Outlaws' attempt to win here in Texas. Frazier down pit lane now. Rayvon may have a penalty for illegal pit entry. Frazier is in and is in safely. Pressey still out on the racetrack. So is Casey Ellis. Those are the last 2 that need to come down pit lane on this cycle. Pressey staying out more. It's going to help him at the end of the race. He's going to have better tires at the end. But what's going to be there for him? Ellis is down pit lane now. And he is safely in. And Blowers has another penalty, it looks like. That is unfortunate. Blowers' day is completely unraveled here. Pressey does come down pit lane this time. That white line, that solid white line, is the speed line. And Pressey is in under that limit. Rayvon and Gaiman. It's a 1-2 conversation. David Cook Jr. a distant third. And then it's Fields and Viscali. Where will Pressey cycle out is a good question here. And for Rayvon, that pit entry is going to be a heavy talking point on lap 85. That's going to be tight conversation here at the front of the field. Getting around Brian Edwards. Looks like getting around Kill Aldridge as well. Pressey ends up in the 6th position, leaving pit lane. And he's going to try to hope to somehow make 9 seconds disappear. Coming to 33 laps to go. Gaiman leads the way. Rayvon in 2nd. Cook in 3rd, Fields 4th, Viscali 5th, Pressey 6th. Then it's William Rucker, Louis Frazier, Brandon Statton, and Kenneth Smith, your top 10. First car lap down at the moment is Lance Anthony, the 52 car. We're right on board with him here. 13th place right now for Anthony. He is trying to race to get his lap back. If a caution comes out, he would love to not have to worry about being the free pass. He'd love to just have it back, but there you see David Cook Jr. He clawed his way back in from 2 seconds back. Very scary moment for Rick Ravon. Latency had him disappear for a solid second. But here he is, still sitting in the 3rd spot. Car coming down the pit lane, that is Blue Jade with damage. And that is likely day done for the 03. If not, at least day devastating for the 03. Gaiman, Cook, and Ravon. It's a 3-car fight at the front of the field, and then 3 seconds and counting to Nate Fields and Mira Viscali, 4th and 5th in the conversation. Viscali a little bit further back, but has slipstream, has the ability to gather time here. This could be a very interesting final 27 laps here at Texas Motor Speedway. Gaiman defending the inside for all it's worth at the moment. Letting Ravon and Cook, two very similarly colored race cars, but very different race teams, battling it out right now for the 2nd spot. David Cook Jr. wants to go to the race lead now, uses the outside lane to do so, sweeps in and sweeps to the front. Does David Cook Jr. And now he does the exact same thing. Brian Edwards has had another issue. He is back on pit lane. And it looks like his day might be done for car 2. Attrition is heavy, as it often is here at Texas Motor Speedway. We said shades of 2017, both good and bad. Gaiman leads the way, though, and we've got a pretty exhilarating fight at the front of the field in our hands. Keep an eye on this battle further back. Nate Fields, Mira Viscali, and Nick Pressey all trying to close in. We said Pressey was trying to close in and make 9 seconds evaporate. He has made 3 seconds disappear. Do not count out car 94 in 6th place. Don't count out the 872. Don't count out the 57. Because they are also closing in on this fight. Car coming out of pit lane. That was Kill Aldridge. Little loose there, David Cook Jr. And the door is open now for Ravon to try to go to the race lead with less than 25 laps to go. Lance Anthony in play as the first car, 1 lap down. Only 3 cars 1 lap down to begin with. That is Anthony, Trout, and Ellis. Blue Jade 2 laps down, has used a fast repair and is back on the racetrack, though upsettingly only 15th after starting this race on pole position. The more that these 3 at the front of the field battle, the better it is for Nate Fields and Mira Viscali. Viscali, personal best 24.01 for the 72. And they are almost in drafting range. I believe that is Jade along with. It is not Jade along with. Had that wrong. That is Trout, I believe. No, it's not Trout either. Not sure which one of the Outlaws cars that is. Battle for the race lead, though, continues on. It's Cook, Ravon, and Gaiman. Viscali in 4th now, trying to close in. You need about another half a second to really get into the draft here. A little tag of the fence. Nate Fields has the car closest to the grass there, now right behind Viscali. Got to really close in a little bit here. Running on board with Viscali. That group of 4 is the target for the 72. Using as much hybrid as you possibly can. I think that is connection with the draft of the lead group. Missed shift, though. That's not great. For Viscali. Don't need to hook up directly with the leaders. You've got Lance Anthony, the liaison between the two. Less than a second, though, between Gaiman and Viscali. Viscali is in the slipstream, so 4th and 5th are there. And we're about to have a 5-car fight at the front of the field. Seeing a bunch of smoke, not sure whose car that is. Not seeing anyone come down pit lane recently here. So we'll leave it alone. David Cook Jr., Rick Ravon, Josh Gaiman are about to have company. I believe that is Blue Jade up the road. It is. Not alone in that conversation. That's Casey Ellis with Blue Jade there. So lap traffic will be a factor for the race leaders that they will have to sort of navigate. And that'll help Viscali out even more. Single file behind David Cook Jr. as they approach the lap traffic, coming to 14 laps to go. We are glad you're with us for a wonderful Thursday night of racing. Attrition early, attrition frequently, but a long green flag run, green flag pit stops, and a battle to the finish as the leaders try to navigate lap traffic with 14 to go. Both Jade and Ellis running the outer lane in turns 1 and 2. They'll do the same here in 3 and 4. That'll help out Gaiman, and it'll help out Lance Anthony, and it will help out Mira Viscali, who will have a chance to close in a little bit. This will be a 4-car fight. Nate Fields unable to keep up. The laps continue to tick away. 12 to go here in Fort Worth. Viscali's gotten around both lap cars. Unfortunately, lost a little bit of time in that process. The pace has picked up. 11 laps to go, and all 3 are under a blanket at the top of the board, trying to determine amongst themselves the podium order. Who will stand on what step of the rostrum? Gaiman in 3rd has been the quietest of the bunch. Does that change with 10 laps to go? What do you got here in Texas? Coming to 9 to go. It's Ravon and Cook at the front of the field, side by side, wheel to wheel. Gaiman in the wheel tracks of both. Standing in the shadows of giants out of turn 2. Viscali trying to make another charge to be a part of this group when it matters the most. The NTT Data 72 car just a little out of touching distance. 8 to go. It is flat out from here. What do you have and what can you use? Lance Anthony trying to mix it up here. Not sure Gaiman's going to appreciate lap traffic being in the way. He backed out of it. But Anthony obviously has the pace to be at the front of the field, just didn't have the track position. Viscali is there. The 72, that white and blue car, is now in frame. The top 4 within half a second. David Cook Jr. leads the way. 6 laps to go. They're all there at the end. This is going to be a dogfight. Ellis back down pit lane. He has crashed into the wall out of turn 2. He has made it back to pit lane where you stay green. 5 to go here in Texas. Viscali sweeps around, grabs a spot from Gaiman. Can she grab a spot from Cook? Just maybe. We might get a little throwback Thursday to the Indianapolis 500 2 weeks ago. Raven leads, Viscali second, Viscali to the outside, 4 to go. Who do you got? Ellis used fast repair, back out on the racetrack to see the finish through. 2 by 2, the top 4 sit. Through 3 and 4, coming to 3 to go. 4.5 miles at the stripe. Gaiman's in the mix. He picked off David Cook Jr. Pressy in 5th, not close enough to be a part of this fight at the end, unless something dramatic happens in these last 3 laps. Rick Ravon leads the way. Mirabella Viscali in 2nd. Gaiman drops to 4th behind David Cook Jr. And Viscali will challenge again on the outer lane. Similar to the attack at Indianapolis 2 weeks ago. 3 drivers, 3 lines through turns 1 and 2. Ravon defends the bottom. Viscali up to the fence. Viscali to the front. Viscali sweeps to the lead. Coming to the white flag lap. That was the 19 of Rivera out of the way. We're on the last lap. Who brings it back first? Viscali's got a mirror full of Ravon. Gaiman in 3rd. Cook in 4th. Ravon goes to the bottom. Viscali defends. Through 3 and 4 for the final time in Texas. 4 cars under a blanket. A photo finish once again. It's Ravon again. Oh my God. A flashback from 2 weeks ago. Rick Ravon once again in a wonderful race to the finish. Viscali's celebrating as if Viscali won. It looked like Rick Ravon had the race win. We'll take a look on our screen and see if there's a timing error. But Viscali is celebrating as if the holdoff was successful. Oh dear. Let's take a look at this final lap. And let's get some confirmation from the spotter's cam. This is the white flag lap. Our timing and scoring is showing Rick Ravon as the race winner, car 7. We saw Viscali do the burnouts. Out of turn 4. To the stripe. Yeah, that's Ravon. That's Rick Ravon at the stripe. Wow. So the timing and scoring would be correct here in this case. My goodness. What a run to the finish. Oh my goodness. the Lone Star 300, this is the results. We'll talk to opponent finishers here in just a moment. Rick Ravon from 4th on the grid. Took an EO out the start to go back to 27th. Ends up getting a 3-win-in-a-row streak going. 3 consecutive wins over Mirabella Viscali, who once again finishes in the bridesmaid position after doing so to Ravon at Indy. It's the same course here, but what a charge to get into the conversation there for Viscali. Josh Gaiman in 3rd, David Cook Jr. in 4th, Nick Pressey in 5th after starting this race on the front row, Nate Fields in 6th, Brandon Statton. Got William Rucker, Lily Frazier, Kenneth Smith, Lance Anthony, and DJ Trout, your top 12 here at Texas Motor Speedway. Matthew Rivera, Blue Jade, Casey Ellis, none of these cars on the lead lap at the end. Attrition taking hold pretty quickly. Casey Ellis involved as well, top 15. Pit lane penalties really unraveling the day for Bobby Blowers, especially 16th place for him. Not what he was looking for here in Texas. Travis Rucker in 17th, Keel Aldridge, Brian Edwards, and Daniel Pereira, your top 20. Marlo Duncan, John Matthews among the DNFs. Andrew Frazier, Andrew Clark in 24th. Josh Osborne, Colin Flukiger, David Cook Sr., the last of those that started this race. Andrew Fay and R.C. Grove did not start here in the Lone Star 300. Important misses here. Andrew White and Sheridan Wade, neither present here for this race due to technical issues. They will have to try to rebound in 2 weeks' time in Gateway. Let's go ahead and let's have a chat with our podium finishers here in Texas Motor Speedway. We'll start with 3rd place, Josh Gaiman, who had a wild race. We got a really long green flag run at the end, and that made everything a lot more enjoyable. Walk us through it, Josh, because that was a frantic fight start to finish.
Yeah, I'm not really sit back and save kind of driver with these cars. I got to go as much as I can. And luckily with this track, it really lets you do that as long as you keep the balance in it. And I was just able to keep the car in the right place. Got really lucky on that first crash. I just went straight through the guy and did not get any damage at all. So yeah, I really love this track with this car right now. It's in a good place. So hopefully we get more races like this.
A lot of fun to watch that race play out here for you. Obviously, the season has been pretty decent. Top 10 points going in. This will only help the conversation. Hanging in there with the 2 championship leaders here tonight obviously helps out a lot. Gateway coming up in 2 weeks' time. How important is that race? We've seen you do well in Gateway before, but this is a completely different field. A lot more wild of a field here in the IndyCar series. What's the thought process going to St. Louis in 2 weeks' time?
I'm going to be honest, I don't remember the last time I drove this track with an IndyCar. It's kind of, in my opinion, it's a track that's made for them, really. I've only done it with like stock cars and trucks and stuff like that. So hopefully I can adapt to that. I'm usually okay at adapting, as long as I can get enough practice in and stuff. But yeah, hopefully it'll be good. I like the refresh of the track. It looks better, it drives better. So yeah, hopefully it's fun.
Going to be a lot of fun to see how things play out. Obviously, off next weekend to get ready for the Indianapolis 500. A lot of people will be going to the Indianapolis 500 for you. If there's any other plans you have coming up here, obviously very busy for us in the lead up to next weekend's big racing extravaganza with everything going on. But what's sort of the game plan for you with no racing next Thursday? Are you going to be enjoying the Indianapolis 500, or what's the game plan?
I'm definitely going to watch the race. Next weekend, our bike park opens up here where I work and live, so I'll probably be on the bike as much as possible. Try not to, go head over feet, or, feet over head too many times, I guess. But it's good. It should be a good weekend. Have a lot of fun, and then come in Sunday and watch the Indy 500.
It'll be a lot of fun to see how things play out. Again, no racing next Thursday as everyone gets ready for the Indianapolis 500 in real life, the 110th running next Sunday. Josh Gaiman, before we let you go and let you celebrate the podium and enjoy what is supposed to be a really good weekend coming up weather-wise, if there's anyone to shout and say thank you to, the floor is yours. Congratulations on an amazing drive and another podium.
Yeah, I'll shout out the Ravon and Mira there for those last couple of laps. That was easily some of the more fun racing I've had in this car in a long time. Probably since I was racing ABN over at Champ Car pretty regularly. Shout out to you for doing these broadcasts and everything you do with the Patreon and all that, and the admins for putting this series together. It's been an absolute blast, even with a couple of hiccups here in the last 2 races. It's been such a good time.
Yeah, it's been an absolute blast here again. Off for next Thursday. We'll be back on the 28th after Memorial Day for a race at Gateway Motorsports Park. Josh Gaiman, congratulations on the P3 here in St. Louis. If we have an update to that, obviously conversations going on about pit lane issues, but at least it's a P3. If not, it could become a P2. Congratulations on either result, either way, Josh, and we'll hopefully talk to you again very soon.
Hopefully.
A phenomenal job for Josh Gaiman. P3 on the road here in Texas Motor Speedway. We move on to a driver who has been in this position before. 2 weeks ago, it was a photo finish at Indianapolis, and we turned around from the Brickyard to the Lone Star State, Low Limits, Texas. It was another photo finish. Mirabella Viscali, second on the road. Obviously, the pit lane issue on lap 85 with Rick Ravon's pit entry. We'll see how that plays out. We'll kind of just play it by ear there. No official word either way. That being said, another podium that is now 3 for the 72 car to kick off the season. Walk us through it, because you had to make up a 6-second deficit after that last pit stop. Did so and looked phenomenal in the process.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like, I didn't really know what was going on with that. I asked Marlo, and she said that the 7 and the 57 had pitted at a funky point and wasn't the beginning of that turn 3 line, which was said in the drivers' meeting. So I'm not exactly sure what's going to happen with those two, but my girlfriend and Marlo, for that matter, they both said just win it on the road, and Emma, they all said just win it on the road, might as well. And so I just drove right through the field, past the 57, past whoever was in 4th. I think that was Cook. And then I passed the 61, and then I passed the 7, and I'm like, well, wait a minute, the 7's going to get a penalty, so I really don't have to fight it too hard. So I kind of changed a little bit of my strategy there at the end, considering that. I was more focused on Gaiman than Raven, so I don't know exactly what's going to happen. I didn't realize Rick had let up to backed up to the 61. I thought that's good, but I don't know if that's exactly what the rule says. I think is an EOL or something goofy like that. So we'll see. It looks like Lance just put a couple photos in there of Rick winning, so I think it might be official that Rick won, but I can't be for certain.
The official
with that
statement
said,
from the stewards room is that it's going to be reviewed in the coming days, and they'll post an announcement. So it is to be determined still.
To be determined still. All right. Well, I did my burnout just in case, so we'll see what happens there. But yeah, no, it was a tough race, honestly, for me. Early on, got in the accident there at the big pile up on lap whatever it was, lap 2 or whatever. Had to use my fast repair, so I just rode around in the back until I felt comfortable enough to get back up there. After that lap 35 caution that took Mara out, she did a really good job spotting me, and I really appreciate her. And yeah, I just kind of started clicking off laps and just passing people, and seemed to work out pretty well for me there at the end. I wasn't really expecting to reel them in. I was like, okay, they're 5 seconds up the road. I'm good for a podium if these two get penalized. And then before you knew it, I could just see them. I'm like, oh, I'm tracking these guys down. And it's funny because I was sitting there in the race, and I was like, oh yeah, my car is really slow, so this isn't going to be a really good race for me. I just don't have the pace. And then out of nowhere, I get the pace and pull up there and fight for the win. That was really cool.
It's been a busy week or so. Obviously, the HTL Cup Series, the Daytona Duels on Monday. Really good job there. Really kind of gelling with the team now with Energy Motorsports over on that side, getting ready for the HTL Daytona 500. And then you kind of get to take some time off. Obviously, no racing next Thursday as everyone gets ready for the real-life Indianapolis 500. Obviously, a good start, though, really into the month of this month of May. You got, again, 3 podiums in a row here in the IndyCar series. Bona fide championship contender right now through these first 4 races. Gateway coming up in 2 weeks' time. What's the feeling like? What's the vibe like now? Obviously, kind of getting into a rhythm, so to speak, as far as just figuring out the process here.
Honestly, I don't really know if there is a process. Just show up 7 p.m., put my laps in, try to be there at the end. That's kind of been my strategy all year long, and I think it's really paid off for me here. And I think I need to do that over in the ABN series more or less. I feel like I'm trying to win it lap 1 over there, and that's not really paid off for me. I got to stop driving with my head up my ass over there. But yeah, no, over here it's been just kind of finish the race, and finishing seems to be a pretty good strategy for me.
It worked out phenomenally here in the Lone Star State. P2 on the road, pending that review that's coming up later in the week, more likely over the weekend here. But before we let you go, I'll obviously let you celebrate the podium and get ready for the HTL Daytona 500 on Monday. If there's anyone to shout and say thank you to, the floor is yours. A phenomenal drive coming back through the field to get up to the front of the field and at least score a second place, if not a race win, if they look at it later on.
Oh my goodness. Well, of course, everybody in the Transmission GP server, my lovely girlfriend Erica, love you so much. Marlo, Blue, Lily, Scarlett, Liz, Ellie, Emma, and Bailey. You guys are amazing. You girls are amazing, and I love you all. You guys are amazing, and I appreciate you. So, yeah, I'm gonna say, they're the best support group I've ever had in my life, and wouldn't do it without them.
A phenomenal job for Car 72. Once again, another podium on the road here, this time in the Lone Star State. Mirabella Viscali, we'll see her again on Monday for the 8th HTL Daytona 500, where she'll drive the number 18 car from the top 10 on the grid. Mira, congratulations on the result here in Texas, and we'll see you again on Monday.
Thank you so much.
That was Mirabella Viscali, the 72 car, finishing second here on the road. And again, we talked about this before we interview Rick Ravon and kind of dissect the race winners event here. Again, reiterating, the results are unofficial until reviews are done. That'll likely be done over the weekend into early next week. So stay tuned and stay posted for that. We will keep you up to date if that changes. That being said, he is the human highlight reel. Rick Ravon did a fantastic job tonight. Car number 7 started 4th, dropped to the back of the field voluntarily, I do believe is what it looked like. Dropped down to 27th because of the fear of being involved in accidents. It was a smart move. If he had stayed where he was, he would have been involved in the accident with Daniel Pereira and everyone else on lap 2. Survives, does what he does, moves to the front of the field, and grabs a race win here in the Lone Star State. Rick, that was a wild race. Another photo finish here in the IndyCar series. How do you do it?
I don't know, man. Just determination, a little bit of luck here and there. I had to miss a couple of wrecks. I went to the back of the field because, my wife caused me all kinds of problems tonight. I blame her. It's all her fault. When I got in the car to go out and qualify, she was talking to me about something. And so I was talking to her, and I don't know, like whatever it was, 30 seconds later, I'm like, all right, let me go qualify. And so I went out. Afterwards, Lance said, Rick, I got to give you an EOL. I was like, for what? He says, you sat in your car in the pits. I'm thinking, big deal. What is that? He said, well, that warms the oil. I said, I don't know what warms the oil. I thought that people who rev their engine, warms the oil, but I guess it has a similar effect just sitting there. I don't know. I never tried to do anything like that, intentionally, but, I took that one on the chin and went to the back of the field and sort of played it safe. Had to come through, and then exiting the pits, for some reason I hit the wrong button, and I sped coming out of the pits. So I had to go to the end of the line again after working my way to the front. So it was definitely a trying night. And also when my wife was must have been talking to me during the driver's meeting, because I must have missed, you have to pit off at 3. Here at Texas, it's safe to pit off of 4, but they made that decision and I missed it. So when I made the one pit stop under green, I went in, and then after, somebody said you're supposed to pit in 3. I went, oh no, you're kidding me. I didn't know that. So what I did was when I came out, I just ran it in map 8, and let the second and third catch up just to negate whatever advantage I may have gotten, pitting all 4 rather than pitting in 3. So I did that, and they caught up, and then we went racing. And I don't know what the decision is going to be, but hopefully they take that into account, because it was a tough night. I had to come from the back a couple of times, but I'll tell you, that Mirabella Visali, whoo, man, what a great racer. And Gaiman up there, so fast. And Bobby Blowers, he was up there. He dominated like half the race. David Cook, he's always fast. I see Nick Presley got a top 5. That's great. I mean, what a great series this is. It's officiated fairly. There's no clicks. There's no favoritism. And I like that. I appreciate that. That's the way it should be. This league is run professionally. And I'm just looking forward to the rest of the season.
And speaking of the rest of the season, it is 3 race wins consecutively. Indianapolis, Milwaukee, and Texas. They can't get a lot more different until we get to Gateway in 2 weeks' time. Everyone having the week off next week to enjoy the Indianapolis 500 if they're traveling to the Brickyard. If you're not traveling, please try to. It is an amazing atmosphere to be a part of the greatest spectacle in racing. Rick, for you, obviously, we know how good you are in these IndyCar machines. Are you going to be at the Brickyard on Sunday? And if not, how are you going to enjoy the big race next weekend?
Well, believe it or not, for the first time in 4 years, I'm not going to go. Just too busy, too tired. I've been working crazy overtime hours, and just this year, I don't feel like dealing with the crowds, and parking and having to walk 18 miles and, sitting there like you're in a can of sardines. I mean, let me tell you something. The experience of the Indianapolis 500, the pageantry and everything else, and the speed and the drama and everything, it's just unlike anything you'll ever see. It's awesome. It's wonderful. But I'm just choosing to sit back this year. The race is sold out again. So Fortunately, they're lifting the blackout for the area. So for the first time, I guess in 4 years, I'm going to watch the race on TV like I've been doing since I was 12, 11, 10 years old. So I'll be doing that.
It's going to be a lot of fun. Obviously, for those that are not able to go, watch it live as well. It's going to be a lot of fun. Obviously, ABN, huge on IndyCar. We'll be doing a watch party as well. Rick, before we let you go and let you celebrate, though, obviously a fantastic job here in Texas. 3 wins in a row. It's hard to expect anything else when you do so well, coming to the field twice to get to the front of the field. Before we let you go and obviously let you enjoy your night and get ready for an amazing weekend coming up here, if there's anyone to shout and say thank you to, the floor is yours. Again, just absolute masterpiece in display here at Texas.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Carmen. Thanks to you, of course, ABN, for broadcasting race. Thanks to Lance for, putting on just for the league. He does a great job, runs it professionally. All the drivers in the field, my wife, I love you, sweetheart. My 2 kids, Zoe, Mila. I love you guys. And most of all, the Lord Jesus for dying on the cross for me. I always have to mention my Lord and Savior, Jesus the Christ. And I don't know. I'm just, we'll see if it sticks. Hopefully it will. And we'll see you next week. I guess 2 weeks, it's Gateway, right?
Absolutely. It is Gateway in 2 weeks' time, May 28th, after Memorial Day.
All right. Well, looking forward to it. Looking forward to the rest of the season. Thank you very much, Carmen. And God bless you, brother. You're in my prayers.
I greatly appreciate it, Rick. Congratulations on the win. Obviously, we'll know if it sticks here later on in the weekend, but obviously enjoy your weekend and enjoy the 500 from home, and we'll see you in Gateway.
Thank you, my brother. I'm going to be taking a nice rest on that day.
Absolutely. Enjoy it.
Thank you, my brother.
That was Rick Ravon, your race winner. Again, unofficially, the race is being reviewed by CART officials regarding the pit stop infrequencies there on lap 85. For a couple of drivers, not just the number 7 that ended up winning the race. He shared his side of the story. Viscali shared her side of the story at the front of the field. I'd be remiss not to go over the results one more time, just so everyone knows what the unofficial results currently look like. Unofficially, it is Rick Rivon, Mirabella Viscali, Josh Gaiman. If Rick Rivon were to be penalized for a pit stop infringement, it'd be the end of the end of the lead lap for the number 7 camp, which would push him down to, let me grab that number real quick. It'd push him down to 10th. So he would drop from 1st to 10th behind Kenneth Smith. Everyone from Kenneth Smith on up would move up a spot in that situation. Again, that is still looking at the moment. Unofficially, we'll run with what we have right now. Josh Gaiman in 3rd. We talked to all 3 of the podium finishers here. If for some reason the results do change before Gateway in 2 weeks' time, we will talk to David Cook Jr., who would inherit the podium position. We'll talk to him before Gateway in 2 weeks. Nick Pressey in 5th at the line. Nate Fields in 6th. Brandon Statton, William Rucker, Lily Frazier, and Kenneth Smith. Those are the results that are subject to alteration here if penalties are applied. Lance Anthony, a lap down. Everyone on down beyond him would stay where they are at. So Lance Anthony and DJ Trout would stay 11th and 12th on the grid. Matthew Rivera, Blue Jade, Casey Ellis, top 15. They wouldn't change either. Bobby Blowers, his race coming undone with pit lane penalties. 16th place for him is where he will stay. Travis Rucker, Keel Aldridge, Brian Edwards, Daniel Pereira, Marlo Duncan, John Matthews, Andrew Frazier, and Andrew Clark. Some of them not finishing this race at the end. And this following page are all DNFs and DNSs. Josh Osborne, Colin Flukiger, and David Cook Sr. will not finish. Andrew Fay and RC Grove do not start here in Texas. Also, no appearances from Sheridan Wade and Andrew White, who were having technical issues prior to the race. That'll do it from us here from Texas Motor Speedway. We want to give another shout out to our premium tier subscribers here on ABN on Patreon. Trade Up Slogan, thank you for the year of support. Dogman2935, Eli Sasick, Jason Scott, Alfred Denny, Weekend Hobby 22, Philip Snipes, Tyler Head. Thank you for 3 months of support and counting. B-Dogs, your monthly anniversary is not far away either. Thank you for 2 months plus. Same with Colin McDonough. Blue Jade, you have an anniversary coming up on Saturday. Thank you for nearly 2 months of support. KJ Gibney, James Wright, and J-Paw. Thank you all for a month of support so far here in the premium tier on Patreon. If you want to support us on Patreon, it's in the description of every race video on this page, on this channel. It's also in the QR code on the right side of your screen. If you want shout-outs, the premium tier is the place to be. If you just want to support us and you only have $5 to spend every month, that tier is available too, and that tier is also shouted out in the ticker at the bottom of the screen of every race we have going on here on ABM. But we appreciate all the support you've given us so far. It is so appreciated on our end. We cannot say thank you enough. But on behalf of everyone here for CART, for Crown Athletics, and the Crown Athletics IndyCar Series, and all of its partners, thank you all for joining us here from Texas Motor Speedway. We'll see you again this weekend. RX High Octane at Darlington, Winstel at Chicagoland, and then the 8th HTL Daytona 500 on Monday. Coverage begins on Patreon with Countdown to Grand at 7. The race begins on YouTube at 8 p.m. here on ABM. Thank you all so much. I'm Carmen Sienna. Stay safe and stay healthy.